Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through some player props I like over on Prizepicks for the Week 14 college football slate, our last college football slate of the regular season. It's rivalry week, so this is the last week of the season. We got the conference championship games will be next weekend, and I might have a video for those. I'm not exactly sure. I'm actually going to be traveling because I'm going to be going to the SEC championship next weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a college football video for those slate of games. We'll see. But either way, we got a full slate of games on Saturday. Rivalry week should be a lot of fun. I've got 3 plays, guys, that I do like for this college football slate on Prizepicks that we're going to break down and talk about in this video. So before we do get started, make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And if you guys are new to the channel and if you are new to Prizepicks, be sure to check them out. Sign up, use promo code NOAH. When you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first lineup, you'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. Cool promo that Prizepicks is doing. You don't have to put in a bunch of money. If you only want to deposit $10, you put in $10, play a $5 lineup. Even if you lose that $5 lineup, you're going to get $50 in promo funds added to your account that you can then use to play additional lineups. Any money you win off those is credit. You can keep playing with that money or you can withdraw it. It's totally up to you. But make sure to go check out Prizepicks. And again, use that code NOAH when you do sign up. And I also do want to shout out Sleeper because we do have a partnership with Sleeper as well. You guys can sign up for Sleeper. Use promo code NOAH over there. For a limited time, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $1,500. So Sleeper, they are taking larger deposits right now, up to $1,500. And they're going to match those 100% up to $1,500. So if you want to put in a large deposit on Sleeper, you can get your first deposit matched up to $1,500 for a limited time when you sign up and use code NOAH. And if you guys don't know what Sleeper is, they're a DFS pick'em app. They're very similar to Prizepicks, where you're just picking more or less on player projections. You build out your entry. You can make up to an 8-pick entry on Sleeper. You can mix and match sports. You can win up to 100x your money. And Sleeper does offer college football, so you can take college football stuff there if you do obviously dabble into college football, which if you're watching this video, you probably do college football. So go check out Sleeper, guys. And again, use that promo code NOAH when you sign up. But yeah, we got a big slate for Saturday, rivalry week. Let's go ahead and break down some props I'm liking for the slate of games, guys. So the first prop that I'm liking is going to be a receptions prop, and we're going to take a look at Tet McMillan, 5.5 receptions, and I like the over here or more than 5.5 receptions on Tet McMillan. So McMillan is he's one of the top wide receivers in the country. Coming into the season, he was expected to be one of the best wide receivers. He's been that so far this season. He's put up really good numbers, even with Arizona's offense not looking nearly as good as they did last season, even with Noah Fafita not playing as well as he did last season. McMillan has still had a great year, 78 catches, over 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's gone over this receptions prop in all but 3 games this season, and 2 of the games where he went under were by the hook. He had 5 receptions against BYU, and he had 5 receptions against Colorado. Both those matchups were pretty tough. BYU, good defense. Colorado, much improved defense this year. This matchup against Arizona State, I think, is kind of like a neutral one. You look at where Arizona State ranks this season in terms of like pass yards allowed. They've kind of just been middle of the pack. So I think this is a fine spot for Tet McMillan. And what I really like about McMillan is he just gets peppered with a ton of targets. If you look at his volume lately, he's been getting double-digit targets, pretty much all of his last few games. 14 targets against TCU, 12 targets against Houston, had 8 against UCF, 13 against West Virginia. And then like at the beginning of the season, he was seeing a ton of targets, 15, 14, 11, 15. Pretty sure he's averaging like 12 targets per game this season. The guy just gets peppered with targets. He's Noah Fafita's top target. Noah Fafita loves to throw the ball to McMillan. And in a game with a pretty high total, I think this game has like a 50-plus total, we should see points scored here. We should kind of see some back-and-forth offense. And you look at Noah Fafita's props for Saturday. I mean, Noah Fafita has a pass attempts line set at 33.5. And if you look at games this season where Noah Fafita has thrown the ball over 30 times, Tet McMillan has had 10 receptions. He has had 11 receptions, 6 receptions, 8 receptions, 5, and then 10, 6, and 6, and 9. So all but one game this season where Noah Fafita has had at least 30 pass attempts. Tet McMillan has had 6 receptions in those games. The one game he didn't was the BYU game. Noah Fafita did have 52 pass attempts against BYU. McMillan had 5 receptions. But every other game this season where Fafita has had at least 30 pass attempts, McMillan has had 6 receptions in those games. Fafita's pass attempts line is set at 33.5 on Saturday, so clearly the sports books are expecting him to throw the ball close to 30, if not over 30 times here. So I do like this play quite a bit. Tech McMillan going to take him for more than 5.5 receptions. And I was looking at sportsbook odds. I think right now on FanDuel, this prop is juiced at like minus 138, minus 140, favoring the over. So sportsbooks are pretty heavily favoring the over on this prop for McMillan. On Prizepicks, we're not having to lay that juice. Everything pays out the same whether you take the over or the under. So if anytime you can find props that are heavily juiced one way or the other on a sportsbook and you can play those props on Prizepicks, usually that's going to be a good strategy. So I do like this as our first prop for Saturday. Tech McMillan for more than 5.5 receptions. And if you do want to play that correlates with that, I've got 3 plays that I'm gonna give out in this video. If you want to make it a 4-pick, I do like Noah Fafita more than 20.5 completions. This does kind of correlate with McMillan. I think there's a very good chance that if Fafita completes 21 passes, that 6 of those go to McMillan. So if you want to play for the correlation there, I'm totally fine taking these 2 together and play that as a 4-pick. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to take the McMillan receptions prop. Like this one a lot. So that's our first play. Now, next play I like is going to be a fantasy score. So fantasy score, I think there's a big edge with fantasy score, especially for college football. You see college football fantasy scores get bumped a lot because there's just not as much. There's not as much market data to back college football fantasy scores. So there's a big edge with these, and there's a fantasy score that I do like for Saturday, and it's Corey Kiner, and we're going to take him for more than 16.5 fantasy score. So we don't have a ton of market props on Corey Kiner. The only prop that we have besides his fantasy score is his rush yards, which is set at 94.5. So clearly the sports books are expecting Corey Kiner to have a pretty good game on the ground here, projecting him for over 90 yards. And you can look at his last few games. He's been running for a lot: 140, 120, 91, 94, 102. You look at his fantasy score, though, he's only gone over this fantasy score line in 2 of those games. And what that's really been due to is just bad touchdown variance for Corey Kiner. So Corey Kiner has run for over 1,000 yards this season, but he only has 3 touchdowns. So he's run really bad on touchdowns. He only has 1 touchdown over his last 7 games, but the guy gets a ton of volume. He's just, when they get near the red zone, they're just like, he's just not getting touchdowns in the red zone. But that's bound to regress at some point. Eventually, Kiner's going to have a game where he gets 1, if not multiple touchdowns. And I like betting on that happening at some point. I think it definitely could happen here against TCU. I like this matchup for Corey Kiner. TCU has definitely been a beatable defense this season. In terms of their running game, or in terms of their rush defense, they've allowed 170 rush yards per game this season, which is that ranks towards that's below like the league average for in college football. So I think this is a pretty good matchup for Corey Kiner. This is a game that has a big total. I think the total in this game is sitting close to 60. So expect to be a game that's kind of back and forth. They're expected to be points scored in this game. And if you look at like Cincinnati's team total, I think Cincinnati has like a 28 or 29 team total. So they're expected to score like 3, if not 4 touchdowns here. And if Cincinnati scores 3, 4 touchdowns on offense, there's a good chance that Corey Kiner is going to score at least one of those touchdowns just with how much they use him. You look at his volume lately: 22 carries, 17 carries, 25 carries, 18 carries, 15 carries, had 17 against UCF. Also, what I like to see is that Corey Kiner has started to get a little bit of usage in the passing game too. So on Prizepicks, for their fantasy score, you do get points for receptions. You do get a full point per reception. So anytime you can get running backs that can catch passes, that's always going to make them more valuable for fantasy score. And if you look at the start of the season, Corey Kiner was not really getting a bunch of targets and a bunch of volume. 0 receptions, 2, 0, 2, 0, 1. But over his last 5 games, 2, 4, 2, 1, and 2. So he's been getting more opportunity in the passing game lately. And I want to say in terms of targets, he's been getting a decent amount of targets as well. I'm going to pull that up just to confirm. But he's was not getting a ton of volume in the passing game to start the season. But lately, 2 targets, 4 targets, 2, 1, 3. So they're giving him a little bit of usage in the passing game to go along with 15 to 20 carries. Lately, he's been getting 20 plus carries, especially in games where Cincinnati's playing with the lead. You look at their game scripts lately, Cincinnati's been playing from behind in a lot of these games. They lost to KSU 41-15. They lost to Iowa State 34-17. They lost by 7 to West Virginia. They lost by 11 to Colorado. they have yet to be playing in a positive game script where they're kind of playing with the lead and they can run the ball a lot. They haven't really had that game script lately. I think this could definitely be a spot where they do have a positive game script against TCU. I want to pull up the odds for this game just to confirm, but I'm pretty sure I saw that Cincinnati was favored. Let's see. Yeah, Cincinnati's at home. They're not favored. They're 3.5-point underdogs, but they are playing at home here. Again, we got a high total, 58.5. In a game that expects to be kind of back and forth, I think we're going to see Corey Kiner get plenty of opportunity, probably 15, close to 20 carries. He's going to get a little bit of usage in the passing game as well, and I think there's a good chance he gets into the end zone. He's run bad on touchdowns this season, but that's going to regress at some point. I like fantasy score a little bit more than rush yards, but I definitely think Kiner going over 94.5 rush yards is totally on the table as well. But I want to bet on that positive, that touchdown regression kind of coming at some point. And with fantasy score, obviously you do get points for those touchdowns. That's why I like taking fantasy score. So we're going to take that as our second prop for Saturday. And actually, if you want to, you can look at Underdog and you can compare their fantasy scores back to Prizepicks. So Underdog, their fantasy score system, it is half-point PPR, whereas Prizepicks is full-point PPR. So a lot of times you're going to see lines be a little bit higher on Prizepicks than they are on Underdog for running backs, receivers, tight ends. But actually on Underdog right now, Corey Kiner's his fantasy score line is set at 17.05. So Underdog has their line on Kiner set higher than what Prizepicks has. And on Prizepicks, we're getting not only a lower line, but we're also getting more favorable scoring because Prizepicks is full-point PPR, Underdog is half-point PPR. So this line of 16.5 on Kiner does look a little bit low. The college football projections that I subscribe to, I do subscribe to college football DFS projections, and the projections that I look at have Kiner projected around 19 fantasy points. So do like this over on Corey Kiner of 16.5 fantasy score. And then the third and final prop that we're going to take a look at is going to be a prop on Zeon Chriss. And I like Zeon Chriss for more than 11.5 rush attempts. So Zeon Chriss is a dual threat quarterback for Houston. He was not the starter to begin the season, but Donovan Smith was playing really, really poorly to start the season, wound up getting benched, and Zeon Chriss has taken over as the starter their last 4 games. And if you look at their last 4 games with Zeon Chriss as a starter, he's not really done much as a passer. He's not really known as a passer. He's more of a runner. He's not really done much passing, but in terms of running, 17 carries for 45 yards, 22 carries for 75 yards, 18 carries for 55 yards, 10 carries for 27 yards. So he's over this rush attempts line in 3 out of his 4 games as a starter this season. And I think the reason that I like rush attempts a little bit more than rush yards is because I definitely could see Zeon Chriss taking some sacks here. Going up against BYU, who is a pretty good defense. I could see him taking some sacks, which obviously in college football, if you don't know, when a quarterback gets sacked, that does count as negative rush yards in college. It doesn't in the NFL, but it does in college. So that's why I think I like rush attempts more than rush yards. But Zeon Chriss, it doesn't matter like if Houston's playing with a lead. It doesn't matter if they're playing from behind. They're going to use him a lot as a runner. Even in their game against Arizona where they lost by 24 points, he still had 18 carries. So he's going to get opportunity on the ground regardless of game script. And the reason I say that is because you look at the spread in this game. Houston, they're pretty big underdogs here. They're 13.5-point underdogs on the road. So while this does set up as a game script where you think they're probably going to be playing from behind and forced to throw, this Houston team, they don't really throw the ball a ton with Chriss at quarterback. If anything, they let him scramble. They'll call design runs for him. So there's a lot of ways that he can get us 12 rush attempts just from scrambling, from design runs. You look at what he's been doing as a starter. I mean, he's been averaging about 15 rush attempts as a starter. I like this line quite a bit of 11.5. I think over 36.5 rush yards looks pretty good as well. But again, I am a little bit worried about Chriss taking sacks, which would take away rush yards. Honestly, I'm not sure if sacks count as a rush attempt. I don't think they do, but they might. And if that's the case, then I like the rush attempts line even more. I've actually never taken a rush attempts prop before. This is the first time I've ever taken a rush attempts prop. But I was doing some research, just kind of looking at Chriss, and he's a guy that does a lot of running. He's a dual threat quarterback, not a guy that really does much with his arm, and you can see that because his pass yards line is only set at 130.5. Clearly, the sports books are not expecting Chriss to go out there and throw for 300 yards. He's just not that quarterback, not that type of quarterback. He's a guy that's going to look to run when he can, which is why I do like him for more than 11.5 rush attempts. So These are going to be our 3 props for the college football slate on Saturday, guys. We're going to take Ted McMillan for more than 5.5 receptions, Corey Counter for more than 16.5 fantasy score, and Zion Chris for more than 11.5 rush attempts. So if you guys are going to tell me on these 3 plays, let's try and hit all 3 of these plays and make some money on this college football slate. As always, do appreciate you guys watching these Prizepicks videos, supporting the Prizepicks content. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. And be sure to go check out Prizepicks too. If you guys are not signed up for Prizepicks yet, again, use that promo code NOAH when you do sign up. And when you place your first lineup, you'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So make sure to go check out Prizepicks again if you guys have not yet. But that's all I got for tonight. Good luck on the slate, guys. We will see you in the next one.